Welcome guys to the first episode of Framework Beater. So here I'm just saying that you don't need a framework, you don't need AI to actually make a web page, and I'm doing this by hand. I'm building a web page for my own business, and I'm not only working on the front end, I'm working on the back end as well and implementing an HTTP server. That's what we're going to talk about, but I just want to show you that it's already working. So if I hit F12, we can check the network results, and if I refresh the page, you can see that it's responding. So here is the main document. It's responding to a GET request and the favicon image, essentially also a GET request from the browser. So what you're doing, if you have worked with C before, you know, and also if you know Linux, you know that essentially you are just transferring data from a socket, and a socket is like any other file in Linux. So all that you're really writing is how to read from a socket or how to read from a file and how to write to a file by following the HTTP protocol, and that's it. And you don't need to implement the whole thing, you just implement what you need. So I'm just sharing with you some of the things that I have done. I'm not gonna write any code. I'm just gonna show you, hey, I read this. When I say I read this, I just read the man pages. I'm not asking an AI, I'm not doing Google search. I'm trying to do it all on my own by just reading man page to show that it's possible to do this kind of stuff on your own. You're willing to do that. So the first thing I tried was to get the hostname of my machine, so that I could bind, essentially I could ask the system to resolve that address from the hostname to an IP address that can be used for TCP IP communication. So here in the domain or family name, I have to set AF INET, and the socket type is the stream socket. Essentially that's all that we need to set. The protocol 0, it's default, I'll let the system handle it, and the address length is because we have to specify this specific structure because this function could be used for other types of communication. So we're saying that this is a socket for internet TCP IP communication, and we just have to say, hey, these many bytes for this time of data structure that we are passing, because it's essentially generated code in C in one way. You could see it, you could think of it that way. So I'm calling this function, which I said is going to resolve the host name, which I'm passing here by reference to this function, so that it will set the IP address, and I'll be able to use that later on. So if you have done some of C, you know that there's an error that could happen at any time. So we always have to check for errors. If you have worked with Go, you know that happens a lot too. And so it's pretty normal that any error can happen at any time. But if everything checks out, the return code is okay, then it's not a problem. We can continue on. So from here we are passing the port number, which I'm specifying to port 8080 to network. Essentially what you can do is check this. Whenever you see a function you don't understand, you can just open the man page and look it up. And this is why I love systems programming from Linux. You have all the information that you need from the terminal, and that's wonderful. You don't need AI or anything like that. You can figure it all on your own. So then what we do is, like I said, it's all about communication over a socket, which is, think about it as a file. We just call socket. Again, we need the AF INET family. Again, the socket stream. Non-blocking in this case I'm using because I don't want to hang waiting for communication to happen. What I actually want is to let the system tell me whenever there's something interesting going on in that socket, so I will respond to it. But we're not going to talk about that today. And I'm saying close this socket. If this application closes, then close the socket as well. That's essentially all I'm saying. I'm asking the system for a file descriptor to a socket that meets those requirements. If everything's okay, then I said that I'm saying I'm the owner of that socket, and that's the case because you are the HTTP server. And then here I'm saying, okay, I want to do async IO, and this is why I'm setting these flags using the function control. If you haven't done that before, you can do what I did. Just open the man page and it's going to give you all the information that you need, and this is why I love Linux. So after you do that, you just need to call byte. This is the same as assigning a name to the socket, and you can read the documentation for that. Again, you have to specify, you have to cast this data structure to this type, and you also have to specify how many bytes so that the byte call will succeed. So I'm using it in the pretty much a standard way of doing it, and then you listen on that socket. At that point, the HTTP server is in a position where it can respond to requests happening on the port 8080, in which case is the one that I defined, and I did that early on by using a macro that defines that, so that you can see that. So that's actually the first thing that I did. The first piece of code that I wrote, it was just that, and right now it works wonderfully, like you saw earlier. So this is just a very short message. What I want to share is that you can do this. You just need to have some time and motivation to try things out. Even if the code fails, you can do it. That's how it worked for me. I don't think I'm a super programmer or anything like that. I've just been trying to write code and trying to fix things as they go. And so I'm sharing this so that I'm trying to motivate you to try this. Don't use AI. AI doesn't know better than you do. Frankly, and I mean it. You can do this. So this is a very short video that I wanted to share. I hope that you saw something that motivated you, because that's my main focus, just to motivate you. This is why I'm making this series. So yeah, guys, you don't need an HTTP server, actually a framework that implements HTTP. You can do it yourself. You can definitely do it yourself. Right now, I'm just using it for development. This page, I'm hosting it. I'm starting to hosting it on GitHub. Of course, it's not using my HTTP server, but it makes development much faster. I can see changes very quickly, and I'm loving it because I'm learning the backend and I'm learning the front end at the same time. So, love to talk about the front end later on, but for now, I'm just gonna focus my talks on the backend. So guys, this was very brief. I know I went really fast. I'm not diving into the details. I'm just giving you hints. Look at this, try that, and let me know how it goes. You can find me on LinkedIn. Thank you guys.